Hello, Brent.
Yo,
How are you?
I'm good. How are
No,
you?
I'm just kidding. I don't care how you are.
Well, then I'm really good. All
No, you're
right.
not. No, you're not. Fuck out of here.
Uh,
Oh,
man,
man. Podcasting. Yo,
I
I
remember
have
that fish
so
yet.
many podcasts to listen to from 2020. I don't know how people keep up.
I think you got to just cut out some of them. If you went this long without them,
You think I got to
forget it.
drop some?
Yeah.
Fuck. I feel really bad
Or
about
you
that.
need to. You know what I've been doing? I've been going for walks or
Mm-hmm.
runs,
Mm-hmm.
and walking specifically. Man, I could go for like a 5 mile walk
Yeah.
and just blast a podcast.
I've been doing podcasts while I work out.
Do you find you you quit paying attention sometimes?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not ideal. It works sometimes, but like I'll not pay attention to either working out or listening,
Yeah.
and that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be like sitting on
I
the bench, and I'll be like, "What'd they say?" and then drop some shit on my face. You know,
what's your go-to podcast right now, considering you're so far behind?
my go to for a while now has been the We Hate Movies podcast
Okay.
because it's like you can do like real one-offs on that because they'll just like I can shit, man, I'm so far behind, but like I can cherry pick like the whatever is like a movie that I want to hear them rip on or something, you know, and it's just an hour and a half, and like I can listen to it over the course of however many days or whatever it is, and that's pretty good. Like I really like we've talked about this before, and they're friends, but the Axe to Grind podcast too. I really like that, but I don't like to go out of order on that one, and I am really far behind on that. And I like to hear them in order. So that one's tough. That one's gonna have to, and I'm gonna have to listen to the progression through pandemic when I finally have some time to like listen to all of them again. You know?
Yeah. That's a really hard thing too, because when I have to go back and listen to old podcasts, I don't know if you get this, and this
Mm-hmm.
might just be like a product of being way too like watching too many YouTube videos and things like that. But
Yeah.
I get like fear of missing out in the weirdest way where when I'm listening to a podcast that was recorded last year,
Yeah.
I start this feeling of like I don't even want to listen to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 Because you're like, it's done. I missed the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just want to watch, like, if I watch YouTube videos, like I can't even watch like a Netflix TV series
Right.
because I'm like, this is like from last year.
Right.
And so I'll just go to like YouTube and I'll watch somebody tell me about some product that I'm never going to buy for 20 minutes.
Yo, you are part of that like YouTube generation, basically, right? Like you
Yeah.
go to YouTube just to watch shit. And I've heard people say this, and I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Like, what do you do? Like, to me, unless I'm directly looking for something or someone's linking me, like, I can't just like go to YouTube and just be like, well, what am I going to watch now? Like, I don't know how you do that. How do you go down that rabbit hole?
You know what? And we've talked about this on previous podcasts, but that rabbit hole's getting harder and harder to fall down. You're kind of really sold whatever you've been watching. That makes sense. Like even
Algorithms
on
need to
YouTube,
go.
yeah, like daily vlogging became a thing. Why?
I'm
Not because you wanted to see that person every day.
right.
It was like you can just get pushed that video every day.
I've had it. I've had it with algorithms. I've had it with social media guessing what you might like. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to guess what I might like. I just want to look at what I like. You know?
Find it. Yeah.
I feel like right before social media, when you had stuff like Found and Tumblr and stuff like that, where it was a very natural, organic way of just like falling down the rabbit hole, old YouTube, you know, that's when you just like, it felt like you were discovering, like going to a record store when you're a kid and looking through the CDs or whatever and being like, this looks cool. I don't know what it is, but it looks cool. I'm going to just check it out. Like, that doesn't exist anymore. It's like if you went to a record store today and you picked up one thing, right? Like I was talking about the Beastie Boys like last episode. You picked up Beastie Boys, and then someone came up to you and was like, here, listen to this, and listen to this. And these are the only options. You can't even try to look through the rest of this store. This is what I'm giving you to listen to. You know?
Yeah.
You might like it, you might not. I don't know. I'm guessing just based on that one thing that you're holding. There's a whole sea of shit over here that you could like, but you're not allowed to listen to it.
Dude, that's literally like grade 5 and grade 6 and stuff when I would go to the comic book shop.
Yeah.
And it was like I was buying a comic, and I remember the owner would be like, "Oh, you might like this," because like I didn't know what to buy.
Right.
And he's like, "You'll probably like this," and it's like you buy it and you read it, and you're like, "Oh, I kind of like that." And next time you're in there, like, "Did you kind of like that?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, you should check this out."
Right.
And I guess what we're saying is like we want social media to do that for us. But last podcast you were talking about going through the store and looking through animation cells.
Right.
It's like that process of just me exploring. And I might have to go through a lot of shit I don't care about, but at least I was exposed to it.
Right. I think it's okay to have recommendations. I don't think it's okay for them to feed only recommendations and not allow you the opportunity to discover things outside of those recommendations. Because, like, how do you know? Okay, say I'm on Instagram, right? And say I'm looking at illustration, or say I'm looking at tattoos and fucking pictures of old New York City, right? Two things that I enjoy looking at. Now, Instagram will just be like, here's tattoos and here's pictures of old New York City and blah, blah, blah. How do I know that I don't, it doesn't even give me the chance to just be like, I had no idea that like, there are instruments in native Australian tribes that are like super cool and sound awesome. Like how I would never be able to find that given those two things. Like there's no connection to that. And I might think that shit is awesome. Like the original didgeridoo or something, you know, I'll never know because it doesn't allow me the opportunity to find it.
You got a didgeridoo on the soundboard?
Oh, fuck no.
Oh man.
Damn it.
I feel like that was a specific reference to a didgeridoo.
I just really like didgeridoos.
You've definitely brought didgeridoos up.
Have
previously.
Yeah. Yo, I truly enjoy a good didgeridoo. I don't
even know what a didgeridoo is.
You don't?
No, I don't think. Well, wait, make the sound. Give me a sound reference.
It's okay. Hold on. No. It's like a like kind of like, you know what I'm talking about?
Peter Frampton?
No. Does Peter Frampton have a didgeridoo?
I don't know. He's got the mouth thing that makes him go like wow.
No, that's a different thing.
Okay. Yeah. That's a didgeridoo?
That was a really bad example of a didgeridoo.
Sound like a really bad try at the trombone.
Yeah, you know, man, that was hold on.
Somebody with one lung blowing into a trombone. They're like, I want to be a jazz player. And their mom's like, all right, we'll get you a trombone, but we'll get you a sax. You're more of a flute kind of lung capacity person.
Yeah, I think so. Yo, I'll tell you one thing. I'm looking up didgeridoo samples to show you. They're all horrible samples.
Oh. So do you think there's an untapped market there for didgeridoos?
Yeah, I do. And maybe if Instagram would give that to me, I'd be able to find where like the good didgeridoos are.
Yeah. Or know that you got to fill that market. You got to fill that gap.
I could be that person. I could do that. I could definitely do that.
Actually, this is a good question then. What design niches have you gone through in your life, and how did you know which one to stop and pursue a career in?
Oh, God. You know what? I don't really know if I've ever done anything besides what I do. And it's funny because I feel like you could look at my work over the course of like the last 25 years and just be like, well, John did this and then John did that and John did this. But in my eyes, I'm doing the same exact thing. I'm just like slightly changing a piece of it, you know, every couple of years.
Yo, I brought this up before on the podcast, is like you're a perfect example of somebody who hasn't continued to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody says, "Oh, do you like John Contino?" For everybody, they'll go, "Oh, like this." They have a very specific piece. But if you go and look at your, like, look through your book, even,
Yeah.
and it's like dramatically changed, like everything,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. Like, I mean, to me, I spot things in my work and I'll do things in my work that I've always done since I was a little kid.
Yeah,
And to me, those are the core elements. Everything else is just kind of like shaping, like the skeleton is always the same and it'll always be the
yeah,
same. And I feel like even if I go like crazy abstract, like Picasso, and when I'm 90, it's still going to be the same as the comics I drew when I was 6,
yeah.
you know?
And this person asked more specifically then that they do UI UX design, and they're also doing, they want to get into like animation, but they don't know if they could do all those kinds of things. But I think you probably should
I
just
think,
do
you
more.
know what I think? And we do this with the studio too, is that it's nice to do something and get good at it to the point where you can twist it and turn it and change it and mold it and whatever. And
Yeah.
then when you feel good about that, learning something new and then applying those same things to that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Do
That's
UX and UI and then learn some animation and then take some of the layout and the interactivity of what you do on a daily basis and apply it to animation. And then maybe
yeah.
apply it to 3D rendering and then maybe apply it to 3D printing and then maybe apply it to model making. And, like just keep following and just keep applying what you learned, what you feel like, aesthetically, functionally, and just put it into that. And it could be, you could have some cool shit.
Yeah, because realistically within design, it's all the same in terms of it. Once you learn composition, color,
Yep.
like layout, typography, that applies to everything you're doing. Even though we're doing animations,
Right.
we're still thinking about the composition and the color and in each frame. You're just doing it a lot more.
You could have an interior designer direct a movie and it could still be
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can
Absolutely.
have a film director sit down and draw pictures and it could still be good.
Yeah.
You know?
The director of Parasite. He just came out with a book, and now I'm blanking on his name and the book that came out, but it's all of his storyboards. And
Oh,
his
that's pretty
storyboard,
sick.
dude, apparently his storyboards like are exactly how the movie's kind of shot. Like
Really?
there's very few changes, and when there are changes, it's like very noted why he decided not to use that
That's pretty sick.
very specific scene.
That's
And so
pretty
he's
sick.
already made the movie in a notebook
Yeah.
prior to, and I
Yeah,
think Mad Max was very similar to that, like
that's
drawn like a comic book.
yeah, that's right. Mad Max was almost like a frame for frame, wasn't it?
Yes.
Like they didn't
It
they
was like
didn't they didn't miss a beat on that one.
um
You know what I really appreciate too is when actors or, mostly actors because I think you don't expect this from them when they are also photographers and they'll take pictures like candid photos on the set of movies and then they come out like 20 years later or whatever. Like I forget who the last actor was that did that, but
yeah.
like you'll see that. You'll be like, oh, never before seen photos from such and such from when they were in this movie. And then you see them and they're like really beautifully framed. And it
Mhm.
gives you such a different perspective of the film, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's, if I'm remembering correctly, like a lot of those actors either start out wanting to be actors, but then having to produce their own movies or direct their own movies to even get parts.
Yeah.
That they end up learning all these crafts, I guess.
Dude, that is how I learned business. Is when I was in hardcore bands in high school. I didn't know how to get shows. We didn't know how to get shows. I found a place that I found was having shows and I found the owner and I said, "Can I book a show?" Sure. So then I booked a show with my band and like 3 other bands that I knew. And then I had to flyer it, tell people about it, collect money at the door, pay the bands at the end, pay the venue, blah, blah, blah. I
Or not
learned
pay the man.
business by just like, but not pay the intern, and
Yeah.
just and then just like learned how to run a business from just
Yeah.
trying to just do something completely different. Like I didn't want to run a business. I wanted to play a show with my band. But in order to do that, the only way I figured out how was to set all this other shit up around it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Which I mean, if you look at a lot of successful movies or any industry, it is that.
Yeah.
It is that to be successful, somebody had to just like do it themselves.
I love that. I love that. I love when people like we couldn't get anyone to finance our movie. So we just got a couple of this and a couple of that, and we did this, and then we did this ourselves, and we did this, and here it is. And now everybody loves it, and it's cult classic or whatever, and it's award-winning masterpiece.
I wonder how many of those stories are just PR stories. But but like Vin Diesel, that was his, right? Like he couldn't get auditions. He like took out a bunch of money with credit cards, filmed like a short. Steven Spielberg seen the short and wrote him into Saving Private Ryan.
Is that how it worked? Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Had
wow,
seen
that's
his
crazy.
short film and was like, I want to work with this kid.
That's pretty awesome.
Like, yeah. Put him in Saving Private Ryan. He has a very limited. I mean, he gets killed. Spoiler alert.
He's dead. That's pretty amazing though, because Vin Diesel, like, good for him, man. He picked up those Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll ever have to work again.
Oh man, too much money.
Yeah.
They're all dog shit now, but the first ones were okay. I mean, 9 of anything's not a good idea.
Dude, you know what's really funny? My wife and I always talk about like what $1 million means in 2021 and what it meant when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like how many times when you were a kid did someone say, $1 million? I'll never have to work again if I had $1 million.
Hey, that song. If I had $1 million.
Yeah. It's like, holy shit, dude. Like $1 million, like you could barely buy a house in like any city in America if you had $1 million.
That's the thing is like, even where I am. Okay. So you buy a house, right? You buy a vehicle.
Yeah.
Like, there you go.
That's
like,
it.
I mean, you could live a lot simpler, but you're not working for the rest of your life.
Right. Like it's
retiring,
dude. It's amazing, like to see the richest of the rich. Like I think it's so like Elon Musk is worth like $190 billion now. Like, and then it makes you think. It's just like, yo, if Elon gave me $1 billion today, would I never have to work again? Or in 30, 40 years or something like that? And is like, you're going to like someone who works for fucking McDonald's is just like, yo, I don't know, man. Because like at McDonald's, I was making $200 million and I was only working part-time, you know?
Wait, you think, can you imagine if inflation is in 30 years, if you have $20 billion, people are like, here, keep
you're
the
like
change.
Middle class.
Yeah. But I mean, $1 million, it's definitely not life changing.
It's someone's just like there's like a mom and it's just like, why don't you marry Marvin? You know, he's going to be a doctor. He'll be rich. Enough with this guy, Jack. He only makes $500 billion a year. This is embarrassing.
And I heard that he got most of that money from his parents. Oh man, I hate that light came on behind me.
I like that light.
Yeah, I know you like it.
Yeah, it's cool. Wait, why did it just go on by itself?
It's a plant light.
Oh, okay.
Aaron grows drugs.
Oh, cool. That's cool. I heard drugs are lucrative.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny to say $1 million wouldn't change your life because it will, but like
$1 million will change your life temporarily, I think.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Unless you're like really smart about managing it. Like some people will probably blow it really fast and then have nothing.
Yeah. I heard this independent musician talking about that when people sign $1 million record deals and things like that.
Yeah.
He's like, you guys know what that means? Like you're paying whatever percentage to your manager and your lawyers and stuff like that. He said, so there you're at $750,000. He's like, and now the government's going to take 40% or 50% or whatever. It's like, that $1 million contract that you just signed, you're making about $350,000. And all these people are like, wow, he signed a $1 million record deal. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Dude, it's really fun when you listen to athletes too, who is just like they sign like $100 million contracts for 10 years with a team, right? I forget who said it, but they're, like all the people in your life come out of the woodwork and want to be friends with you. And it might have been like CC Sabathia or something like that. And he's just like, yo, I don't have that money now. It's just like, it's like, I don't have it now. Like I have to do things in order to get it.
That's too bad that I mean, it kind of is a lottery, but it's like, that's the idea kind of behind, you never want to win the lottery. You want to make your money yourself.
Yeah,
it's like,
right. Unless it's like some stupid amount of money. Like some guy in my in-laws neighborhood won $330 million in the lottery.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I'll
also take the pressure.
Yo, they could take the 40% out of that too. I'm fine with it. It's fine.
Yeah.
You could take it. It's okay.
But you always hear like stories like that, and then it's like, well, they lost their family, because their family's all bugging them for money. It's like, yo, I'll buy a new family.
Yeah. I'll get a good family that appreciates me.
And you know what? I'll hire actors that literally have to act like my family. I'll give them scripts.
Oh yeah. That's that's the way to go, man. You want to get that acting family.
Yeah. You want to do the hot minute?
You know what you were looking for? You were looking for. That's what you wanted when you said that, and
you didn't get it.
You didn't get it.
Why didn't you give me that?
You didn't get it. Sorry.
Oh no!
Fucking 2 episodes in a row where you said something good and you got nothing out of it.
You know what? I'm gonna have to get my own soundboard because you got all the power right now.
That's right. That's right. You better believe it.
Swaying the people.
Speaking of having all the power, I saw someone write in and said something. What was it? It was like, "Yo, why is Brent the cute one?" # Team Brent.
Funny, cute and funny.
Cute and funny. I didn't know that we were allowed to have our significant others write in.
Is that who? Really? When we read that,
did that dawn on you that could have been your girlfriend?
Oh, she would never do anything like that. She's like, listen, you're not funny. All right.
Okay, so
stop saying things like that. You're not funny.
Could it have been your mom?
No, I'm thinking it's definitely. I messaged you and I said, I bet this is. I said 2 people. Whoever that was, you should write in and say who you are.
Yeah, we got to know.
I think it was. I'll just name drop Joseph DiMaggio.
our first guest ever.
Yeah, my old enemy and newly acquainted friend.
Oh, so you guys are like friends now.
Best friends.
Best friends.
Dude, my cat just jumped to the top shelf.
Is that cat gonna knock over that bookcase and we're gonna watch you die on YouTube?
Yeah, hopefully.
That's a good way to end it. Then I'm gonna have to just have like a special guest host for every episode from now on.
No. You just take pre-recordings, soundboard me.
Ooh, soundboard you. I didn't think about that, but I will be doing that.
But only when I say things that are like really not okay.
Yo. This is, I know that they've been doing this on radio for decades and decades, but like, this is an epiphany.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
You know what?
What's that?
One day we have to listen to my prank calls.
Oh, yes.
And, we do that in our prank calls. We use soundboards.
We're gonna do that. We're gonna listen to you as a teenager do prank calls, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break them down, and we're gonna discuss them.
If they're rude,
I'm sure they're rude.
No, they were always pretty nice. Well, they weren't always pretty nice, but we definitely
Canadian prank calls. Hey, how you doing,
yeah.
Hey, is everything good? All right, nice speaking with you.
Is it snowing where you are?
Is it snowing? Holy shit!
All right, here's a question.
Wait, what are we doing? What are we doing? Are we doing
hot minute?
Can't do it without.
Is that the hot minute?
Wait, is it?
Wait, let's do catch up first. Catch up.
I wonder how many episodes I'm going to go through laughing at this when people are just like, okay, it's not fucking funny anymore. I had a soundboard when I was in 6th grade.
All right, we'll jump back to the catch up.
Okay.
I think that we blew past it.
Okay.
Fonts, merch, brushes,
Booyah.
books. When are those things coming out?
Oh man. Soon. Well, we got one font that's almost done that we're going to be releasing. Got some Procreate brushes, just about done. Got a whole bunch of new merch coming.
Yeah. You sent me some merch.
New book. You know, it's so funny. Like the new book thing. I've been getting a lot of people asking me about doing another book, but like the book that I released was kind of like a career retrospective up until this point. So the next time I do a book like that is going to be years from now. At least 5 years, I'd say.
No, I always message you. I think you got other books.
Other books in me? Yeah, you know, there might be. Yeah, I might do some other shit. I don't know. I'm really particular with the book thing, and I would love to do another book. I just gotta feel like I gotta land on an idea that I can live with for a few years and work with.
Dude, Stephen Heller has 180 books.
Yeah, but it's like he's writing on particular topics and shit. I don't know. Like I don't know where I would draw the line into a second book and what that would be. Like, is it like commentary? Like I know.
I don't know.
Well, like one time someone asked me about managing. I don't know what was it? It was like managing yourself, managing clients, stuff like that. How to kind of like confidence as a designer or some shit like that. And I was just like, oh, that would be a great book, you know, to like really dig deep into like how to feel more confident about your work and just kind of like tell stories about like failure and successes, and maybe get some clips, some comments from other people who've done the same thing, and like really kind of, because like one of the things I always reference is when I first started thinking about like making my own studio, I freelanced for a little bit, but I got the book from the studio Carlson Wilker, and I was really excited because the whole thing was just like, this is how we became a successful studio. But when you read the book, it's just like, first we grew up in Germany or wherever they're from, and then we came to New York and rented a studio, and then we were working for Volkswagen. And it's like, cool, but you like left out a lot of stuff in the middle.
Yeah.
You know? Like, first of all, how did you afford a studio in New York? Like,
that's the thing. And
that was
I
my
think,
first question.
Pulling it back to like Casey Neistat talks about that all the time, like this famous YouTuber, where he's just like, and then I started doing commercials, and with my commercials, I bought a studio, and I just kept making the commercials. And it's like, but how did you find that connection to make commercials?
How did you get a commercial? What is
Yeah. And it's like, well, J. Crew just decided to pay me 20 grand to make a commercial. It's like, did you know somebody? Because like,
right.
You had no work prior to that.
Did you call them and just like, hey, you guys need a commercial person? And they were like, yeah, do you want to do it? We'll give you 20 grand. Well, I was just calling to see if you needed help, but sure, I'll do it, I guess.
Listen, you want to come down and be the shoe boy? At our J. Crew on whatever? On Broadway?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's frustrating. I also feel like, though, you sent me a bunch of work the other day, and I was like, where did all this come from?
Yeah.
A lot of it I had seen in doses.
Right.
But I'd never seen all of it.
Right.
And there's a lot there.
Well, the funny thing is like, when I did the book, I figured 300 pages would be enough to cover my career. And I ended up skimming the top of the last 5 years with it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what I was thinking about trying to put over 20 years worth of work into 300 pages. I severely underestimated how many pages that needed to be. So I don't know, maybe sooner than later then. Maybe it's because my publisher at Abrams, John Gall, who's worked with me, he was the one who was just like, my idea is like, let's do a book every 5 years. Let's, instead of just doing like one compendium when you're 75 years old, he's like, let's do volumes. Let's do this one, and then 5 years later you do this one, and then 5 years later do that one, and just it makes it feel a little bit more interesting to kind of break it up that way. So that's kind of the plan a little bit with that, because I did like that idea, but maybe there's other shit in between.
I think you got specifically Contino studio stuff, books. like right there.
Yeah.
As
Yeah,
well.
that's true. That's true too.
Because it's like you've also done a lot of work. Yeah, just internally, right, with people.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah,
Never
with
been
everyone
checked.
that works with us.
Mhm.
And yeah, right. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. Maybe we do that too.
It's funny, as I'm saying all this, I'm like, yo, where are you ever gonna find the time to do that shit?
I do not know. I do not know. I will say that the beginning of 2021 has revitalized me a little bit. I've completely sworn off sleep. I don't need it anymore. Don't need sleep. I'm feeling good. I'm working all nights. I don't think I slept a wink in the past week and a half. I'm feeling good. Feeling creative.
Man, come March, you're gonna crash.
What do you mean March? Come February.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like tomorrow. Oh,
Yeah.
I just won't hear from you for a while. Yeah, I feel like you're always working, so even over the holidays it was weird when I would text you and you weren't working for like
I
a
kind of
day.
forced myself to disappear, like to try and be gone. But I still ended up doing some shit.
I know. But I text you and I was like, I feel like a crazy ex-girlfriend right now.
Yeah.
Can you please reply?
Yeah. And I was like, no. Wrong number.
Yeah, wrong number. You left-handed or are you right-handed?
Right-handed.
I guess we're hopping right to the hot minute.
Right-handed. Oh, did we need to? The hot minute. Boom.
Boom. Is there anyone that either of you truly hate?
Brent.
I don't think we actually truly hate anybody. I hate what a lot of people.
Brent.
Oh, yeah. But see, you don't truly hate me. You just.
It's more of a casual hatred.
Yeah.
Yo, you know what's really funny is that with the way things are now, Erin says to me, she goes, my wife Erin. Well, everybody knows this. Both of our significant others' name is Erin.
Yeah.
So,
but we never refer to the other one. So
right. So when I say Erin, it means my wife. When Brent says Erin, it means his girlfriend. She said to me, like, the way things are now, Brent must be your best friend. He's like the only person you talk to. And I said, no. I said,
you know what's funny?
What?
Is I know that it's absolutely true.
No, it's not. It's not. And I make sure to tell you that we're not friends and that this is strictly a business relationship.
Dude, you text me the other day to tell me that your wife asked, when you guys get the new house, are you going to invite Brent over?
Yeah.
And you're like, what? No. But you had to text me to let me know that she was like, you'll invite Brent over, right? And you're like, no.
Yeah, not happening.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. That's hilarious, dude. That's hilarious. Yeah, we're best friends.
Yeah, no. Do I actively hate anybody? No. I don't hate anybody.
I mean, neither.
I think some people are whack.
I guess if you define hate, like I never go to sleep angry about a person.
Right.
So yeah, I don't like things that people say and I don't like what they stand for and things like that. But I don't hate them. I don't think about them. I don't wish bad on them. I do wish bad on a few people, but it's not actively.
Yeah. I think I don't like anyone who bothers me that much. Doesn't bother me enough that I have to dedicate a portion of my brain to that person.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I definitely have some, like, racist-ass neighbors that I do not like. But, like, the second I pass their house and I'm past their house, like, if I drive past it and then I'm past them, I forget about them because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't need that in here. You know, I got plenty of other things to worry about. I have a family. I have work. I have baseball. I have music. I have all things that make up my brain. I don't need, like, hatred in there.
Yeah, I'm not a very hateful person. I'm an angry person.
You can be angry and not hateful.
Yeah.
Like, shit pisses me off. Don't get me wrong. But, like, I don't, like, whatever. I try never to say the word hate about anything and mean it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a strong word, Like
well, yeah, true hate, definitely.
If you hate some, like God forbid, like someone fucking kidnapped my kid, or like someone assaulted one of my kids or something, I would hate that person, and I would
try to kill that person.
Exactly.
And then once they're dead, I don't have to think about them anymore.
Right.
So I don't even know if I would hate them. I would just.
But like that I think that's what it would take for me to. What are you looking at? I'm sitting
My
here
cat.
looking at Brent, and you're looking up at the ceiling. Is the cat on the ceiling?
No, he's on the shelf above me, and I swear, because I can see her in the mirror across from me, and she's like figuring out how she's supposed to get down, and she's looking at me like she's gonna jump onto me.
I take it back. I hate your cat. Man, your cat sucks.
Yo, yeah, I don't think we hate anybody.
No. I think there's a lot of people who will say that they hate people, and they'll have like personal grudges and shit like that. But why? Don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time.
I don't like things. Yeah, in general. But
there are actions that I don't like. There's shit that people do that I hate when people do shit like that. But like anyone could do that.
Give me an example. Give me an example.
I don't know. Anyway, like when I don't know, like when people park in like a handicap spot.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, just don't do that. But I don't even know if I hate that. Like I think that's annoying, and I think it's rude. But I don't know if I hate it.
I just think that person's lazy.
I hate when I hate if someone like sneezes with their hand, and then like will just like shake your hands.
Yeah, I always sneeze right into my armpit.
Yeah,
or elbow pit. I guess.
Yeah, but you know what though? I'm trying to think of like shit like even like when you go to the store or something and someone's like super obnoxious to you, or is like really like just so rude, like it makes me mad. But I don't even know if like I hate that that's happening to me.
Oh, dude, see, I kind of enjoy when people are like,
yeah, because it gives you ammo.
But I'm never rude back. But I like to be polite, and I notice like when people in stores are kind of like jerks. I've had that like a handful of times or whatever. I find it's like I make it a point to like try to have a conversation with them. Yeah. And they're kind of still being, you could tell they don't want to have that conversation. So I want to have the conversation. Like, what's up? How's your day going? Like, I don't know. It's kind of rude, I guess. But
it's just a way usually to screw with them.
It makes them nicer. They do change their tone usually.
Sure.
If you start trying to have
but you're getting satisfaction out of screwing with them and like really messing up their flow.
Yeah. They don't want to be having those conversations.
No.
Yeah. Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like, I think we're both like that, where we kind of like, we don't actively seek confrontation, but when confrontation presents itself to us,
you love it.
We embrace it.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It can be mistaken, I think, for hate. Or on the previous episode, we talked about people thinking they were angry. It's like, we're not angry. We don't like shy away from slight confrontation.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly don't mind people thinking that I am, I don't know, like a scary person to be around.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't bother me because I can, just like anybody else. You get to a certain place, you could be a scary person to be around, but like, I'm pretty mellowed in my old age.
Yeah. I mean, you've said things to me before where it was like, oh, don't worry about that stuff. Like, it's just taken away from your energy. Don't put your energy into that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Yeah, you don't want to have that conversation?
Well, you're the young whippersnapper. I'm the wise old sage.
Yeah. Sage. Yo, I just bought a sage sweatsuit.
What?
I just bought a sage colored sweatsuit.
I don't hate that.
Yo, we maybe like a few months ago, I was telling you how like I think I even brought it up on the podcast how I refuse to like not get ready in the morning, not like put on clothes to like go get my coffee and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because it just I start my day like that. And I've gotten so sick of like lacing up my boots,
Yeah.
buttoning my shirt up.
Yeah.
And now the other day I texted you and I said, I'm getting sweatsuits. I started buying sweatsuits.
You're
I
all
got
in.
sweatsuits, sneakers, and that's my life now.
I mean, I've definitely transitioned to full sneaker wearing at this point.
Which is funny because I fucking hated that, and I was texting you weeks ago that I threw out my sneakers.
Yeah, I didn't like it either for a while. I was into the boots for a good amount of time, but I rediscovered my love of sneakers. I'm not like a sneakerhead.
Yeah, no, you are. You got really expensive sneakers.
But I'm not like yo, the Yeezys or whatever. Like I don't care about that shit. You know, like the Jordans with the gold-plated neon, this or whatever. Like the release, I'm not going to stand out on the street and wait. Like,
oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that crazy.
Would you still wear your boots? Like, if you had to dress up for something, like a little bit, you going sneakers?
No, I'm not that guy. No, okay, if I have to dress up, I'm wearing appropriate attire.
Okay, I appreciate that because something bothers me about wearing sneakers and trying to dress up.
Yeah. I don't
like Aaron's been watching The Bachelor and he was like wearing a suit with like his sneakers to show that he's kind of like a playful dude that likes to dress up, and it's like, no, you just look like a child.
Yeah, it looks so forced when people do that. Like the worst thing is like I remember when I got married and we were looking at photographers, and you would look through like some of the photographers' portfolios, and there would always be, dude, it was the fucking worst. There would always be like this married couple in the middle of Manhattan, and it's a black and white picture, and the only thing that's in color is the yellow cab in the background.
Oh god!
And then and like either the husband or the wife is wearing like Chuck Taylor Converse.
Yeah, and they're in color.
And it's just like, yo, no, they're not in color because they're black and white sneakers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're just like, yo, that is the cheesiest, dumbest thing.
I hate like bright colored suits and things like that too, or like when like those kinds of things, or like weird ties, or like they decide to wear like
weird ties.
Like, what do you know what I mean? Though?
I do know what you mean.
And it's like this knit tie that I'm wearing. Do you like this knit tie? And it's like, no.
I'll wear a knit tie. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but it's got to be right.
What
you gonna wear a square tie?
I'm wearing I have a square knit tie that is navy blue, and it looks fantastic.
Square knit tie?
Uh-huh.
So it's squared off on the bottom.
Squared off on the bottom. It's knit and it's navy blue, and it's a beautiful tie.
Chuck that shit in the garbage.
Nah. You know what? I take it back. I like a nice, interesting tie and a nice pair of interesting socks to like really like spice up a suit.
Oh no, dude! I've sat in too many meetings where with the sock guy in the meeting, like in the corporate world, it's like that's the guy that wears funky socks, and they always start off the meeting. What kind of socks are you wearing today? Today I got buses on my socks.
You got what?
Buses on my socks.
Buses? No. I'm not talking about buses. I'm talking about just like interesting colors or some shit.
Yeah, that's okay, but it can't be like stand out.
Depends.
It can't be like over. Are you gonna wear some like highlighter yellow socks?
Yeah, I might do that actually.
No, you would not.
I might do that. Yeah, I might do that.
You know what? Aaron would never let you leave the house wearing yellow. You got to take that knit tie and you got to finish knitting it so it's a full scarf like it was meant to be.
Oh man!
But I'm back on sneakers. I'm definitely back on sneakers.
Oh yeah, no, you know what? Maybe I'll wear a knit tie with my Nikes.
Next podcast,
really fuck you up.
Yeah, that'll get people to watch the video podcast that is available. We got dude. I don't even know if we want to go to this dark question.
Oh man, we're gonna go dark. This is
I don't know.
This is a long one.
Yeah, this is a long question.
You know what?
We could go.
No.
Okay, good.
Let's do this question. You know why?
Oh, fuck.
Because we were just talking about personal choice. And I think this question goes into personal choice.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
So we got a question and we had to sum it up a little bit because it was a pretty long question. I'm feeling so lost and disheartened. Dare I say, ashamed to be an American these days. Maskless people celebrating football teams, congressmen and congresswomen refusing to wear masks during a lockdown, MAGA, no accountability. The list goes on and on. I'm torn between. Sorry, gotta scroll. I'm torn between being scared for our country because this is just the beginning, and being hopeful and strong because I know I shouldn't let terrorists instill fear in me. I'm seriously considering moving to, say, Canada. I don't know if we'll allow it, but from what I hear, people are so incredibly kind and nice, almost to a fault.
False.
It is false. I think we get the reputation because we're not as like
brash as Americans.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say that like we're like passive aggressive.
Yeah, you got that.
You know what I mean?
That's like West Coast America style though.
Yeah, absolutely.
California, Seattle, Portland, very passive aggressive areas.
And just so you know, if you're an American and you move to Canada, we are going to think you're an American asshole.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, that's fine. That's fine.
It would be like a Canadian moving to the United States, and it's like, oh fuck,
here comes the nice guy.
Yeah.
It's really funny though. On that is because you still like apologize for shit all the time. I think you do it less now because I would call you out on it constantly.
Yeah.
But then I hear stories about what you did as a kid, and I'm like, he's a piece of shit, just like everybody else I grew up with.
Hey man, nobody else knows those stories. Yeah. So, this question particularly, and I guess I cut out an important part, but was referring to what happened at Capitol.
Oh, right. This is what I think, and I think it's very easy to sum up. As an American, you have a choice, and that's what makes America a great place, is that you have a choice about how you choose to feel. It feels to some people that you are getting squeezed more and more each day, but the reality of it is you're not. There are just people that are getting louder and louder, and whether you agree or disagree with them is where your stress is coming from. Now, to me, I think the beauty of America is that you have the opportunity to make a difference by voting, by talking, by assembling people of like minds to go to places and protest things that you disagree with, which we've seen a lot of in the past, 10 or 12 months or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think whether you agree with what's happening or you disagree with it, or you think something's terrible, you think something is great or whatever, I think you need to appreciate the fact that you have the opportunity to make a difference. Whether you want to make a difference or not is a different story altogether. But I think to automatically be scared about what you see, or to think that the only way around this is to flee, I think that's the wrong way to go. You need to be loyal to the place where you're from and give it a chance. But you have to put something back into it. You have to feel like you're contributing something. If you feel like you've put look at the people who have been civil rights activists and things that, where they literally give their lives for something that they believe in over the course of time. Like, differences can be made by one person. Differences can be made by a group of people. And that is not always the case in other countries. There are places with true dictators, not this clown dictator that we have. It's like there are real places that have legitimate dictators where you can go outside, and if you do something the wrong way, they'll shoot you on the spot. Like,
yeah, I was going to say the fact that you can literally tweet something saying Trump's a dipshit, and you're not getting thrown in jail, or like, you know what I mean? That's a
dude. The perfect example, I think, is with China, where those scientists, and this is, I don't know how true this is, but I read this a bunch of times from a bunch of different places about the scientists that discovered COVID, and they were using kind of like an encrypted chat app to talk about it because they were afraid of the government silencing them because they didn't, it's the same thing as like the Chernobyl thing where the government doesn't want to feel embarrassed, so they silence the people who might end up making them look like fools for something being a certain way, blah, 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 whatever. Yeah. Despite the fact that there are people who get unjustly murdered in this country by people in power, I think for the most part, you do have the opportunity to say, this is my home and I want to state how I feel about this. And I think eventually things will always come back to a middle ground, a moderate place where people can coexist in this place. And it's tough too. Like we're like 2 episodes in a row of talking about shit like this. But obviously this is a significant part of our history. And even as a Canadian, you can see that because it affects you guys too. Like this is some shit that's never happened. It hasn't happened since 1812,
Yeah, it's interesting to see, I guess to that point, it's interesting to see it happening in the United States or trickling over to here, right? Where we thought we were kind of invincible, maybe in a way, from things like that. But I think to call those people, a lot of those people are dipshits, for sure. They are. 100%. 100%. But then to be like, to call them terrorists, it's like, really want it, just leaving your country is kind of worse. Like, why not fight for what you think? Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't label any of those people just because, wasn't that shit over in 4 hours?
Dude, that's really
or a week.
It was super weak. Those people were super weak. Like when you see people who are actually fighting, whether they're trying to overthrow the government or whether they're trying to fight the government or whatever it is, when people in other countries legitimately do that, they cause damage. They will go in and they will burn and they will pillage and they will rape and they will destroy. That shit didn't happen. Even you can make arguments for some protests and stuff that got out of hand over the summer where people who wanted to take advantage of the situation started burning and stealing and stuff like that. Even that is just it ended, and it ended on its own. It wasn't, you know what I mean? People just got tired and they were just okay. If you want to lay waste and you want to leave a fucking trail of dead, that can happen.
I mean, look what's happening in a place like Belarus right now, where it's it's going through literally a revolution, and people are that shit's scary.
Yeah.
Or, and it's not to say that, not to undermine what happened, because it's bad what's happening, but it's almost more of a product of really all we've been talking about the last few episodes, which is just people, I guess, having opinions about things they shouldn't have opinions about.
Yeah, and it's a funny thing too. Is like my wife was saying, she was like, well, the people who were storming the Capitol, what's their end game? And it's really funny when you see the interviews of some of them when they were walking out, and they're like, well, what was your plan? Blah blah blah, whatever. Well, and they're like, well, we wanted to get in, but I kind of got bored, so I left. You got bored?
Yeah.
Why did you just went in there just so you could take a picture of yourself to post on Instagram? That is the reason you did it? You don't have any philosophical differences that you need to see justified? You just went in there because you were bored? That's not a real fucking revolution, And then,
most of this is
Well, for that reason alone is why you shouldn't be scared of what those people are. Yeah. It's a joke, it's a joke revolution. It's and people died over something that's a joke revolution too. It's 5 or 6 people at this point, I think, are dead because of that. And it's a joke. And you shouldn't, that's not, to me, that's not something to be scared of. I think there are much worse things. I mean, just the pandemic alone is much scarier than that. A invisible virus that could kill you if you're the wrong person in the wrong place, you know? It's not these friggin' clowns that get dressed up and don't even know what they're all talking about. They all have they're all these different clans, and they all have different conspiracy theories and shit like that. I'm more mad that these people ruined the entertainment value of conspiracy theories for the rest of us.
That is true. Hey, remember at one point when when you hear a good conspiracy theory and you're like,
Yeah,
whoa.
this is fun.
Yeah, like there was podcasts that I would listen to on conspiracy theories and be like, this is fucking awesome. And it's
Yeah.
like now it's just the ramblings of like your crazy uncle or something like
Right.
that. You know what I mean? And it's just like
Right.
I
Right.
don't
Right.
yeah,
Right.
tell me
Yeah.
something that's truthful.
Exactly. And that's why I think it's just like I will continue. It's so funny too. Like when I did when my book was released, an illustrator by the name of Julia Rothman interviewed me at Parsons for like the big release bash, and she had brought up the fact that I did a lot of Americana stuff, and like the state of the country and Trump and blah blah blah, and how do I feel about it and all that kind of stuff, and it's like I don't know what it's going to take for me to become an embarrassed or ashamed American, because I'm not I'm not a person who's in the minority thinking that I want people to be free and equal. I think in general we all want to be able to live and work together and not have these things kind of like tear us apart. Like I'm proud that like I live in a place where if I get you, Brent, and my neighbor and my brother and my friend and this and that and this stranger from the deli or whatever, and we all agree that what's happening is not right, we can come together and we can fight that. Like
Yeah.
that's what makes it great. Like you can do that. And it's like I have plenty of people who are like-minded with me that I know that is my America, not the people
But
who are
you're
doing
also
some, you know what I'm saying?
you're also not scared to expose yourself to differing ideas,
Right.
right?
Right.
And
And I think
there's
you
a
have
big
to.
difference between
You
yeah.
have to.
Yeah, and we talked about this before. It's like I'll come to you like pretty like sure of something,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be like, "Well, did you consider this?" And it's like, "Oh no, I didn't."
Right.
It's like you're right. Like I was wrong, and it's
Well,
like,
the
go
the
ahead.
the interesting thing about it is like, especially when we're talking about this like ultra conservative or ultra liberal or whatever, it's you can be on either one of those sides, but the fucked up part is there's even the slightest, there could be something about the person on the other side that makes sense to you.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? And you're just like,
But
well, that part we can agree on. It's the rest of the shit. You know what I mean?
yeah, and that's the weird thing is that you're just toting your party's line, and you almost can't even agree on those little things
Right.
that we both agree on. Like, hey, you should drink water. It's like, nah. You
Yeah.
think we should drink water? I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a bad idea. I mean, I texted you the other day, and I mean, this isn't like a new idea or anything, but I said like conservatives should respect that like liberals make. I mean, we make like art and education and things like that, right? Like really great shit. We make arguably why the country is great,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Canada and the United States.
Right.
And conservatives need to respect that, but then liberals need to respect that conservatives are ultimately fighting foreign whatever
Yeah.
policies and things like that, trying to take those things away from us, you
Right.
know? And so we're kind of all fighting for the same thing. We just are on either making it or fighting for it. And for some reason, we can't respect
Yeah.
those ideas.
And I think the bottom line is that we all need each other to work. Like it's a machine that we all, like you said, like we need all of those pieces. You can't. It's the same way that I kind of describe the seasons, right? Like I fucking hate the winter. I hate it.
Yeah.
But like if I didn't have the winter, when the spring came, I wouldn't feel that like absolute joy of like the first 65-degree day. You know what I mean? Like these things need to exist. The problem is like when, like the hatred or the ignorance or the hypocrisy gets to levels that are completely intolerable, that it drives you insane. That's the stuff that sucks. But for the just the opinions and the types of people, like we need each other. Like you need to have some. You can't. How could you consider yourself a liberal or a conservative if there's not someone on the other side to make you that way?
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of funny. It's like we're playing a fucking child's game.
That's all
where
it
it's
is.
like we're trying to balance the hate so it's not too extreme. That
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, man, I don't know. And the States, I don't know how the States is going, but specifically where I live, it's kind of becoming, I don't want to shit on all of Canada or anything or all of where I'm from, but I mean, there's like a large problem, lack of education,
Sure.
I suppose.
Sure.
And I mean, like people can look it up where I like in Alberta, the average IQ is like very low.
Yeah.
And that's like that sounds like I'm being a dick, but uh what's that Aristotle? Man, I always just come back to quotes and
You
things
love
like
quotes,
that.
man. You're a quote
Dude.
master.
I mean, like Aristotle talked about something about like the biggest detriment to a country is its inability to educate its people
Sure.
or something like that.
Sure.
And it's like, yeah, so yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's a really good point too, because you look at all these like QAnon types and stuff.
Yeah.
And when they will attempt to get into an intellectual argument with someone on the internet, what is the thing that they say? I did my research. I did my research, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like the catchphrase, but like all they're doing is like reading other conspiracy sites.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, did you know that George Bush was actually an alien? And it's just like, fuck. Really?
Dude, Erin rants to me all the time when people say I did my research, and she's like, "What the fuck? Like, you
Yeah,
Googled
I
something?"
know. It's just like, yo, I went to school for 6 years. I did my
Yeah,
research.
Yeah,
I didn't
like,
read 3 sites on the internet that was like linked via like a Facebook like retail store. You know,
she's been writing one paper for 2 years.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like on one idea. Like, so it's like, yeah, so the idea of I did my research. It's like to have that fucking half baked idea that you have, where it's like,
yeah.
I bet that's the first thing I Google when I Google that topic.
Oh
That's
yeah,
like the
dude.
first.
And it's especially bad with like pandemic stuff too, because it's
Yeah.
like it's so new and it's so fresh that like the information that comes out in the media is almost simultaneous with how scientists are discovering it. So like
Yeah.
everyone's kind of on the same plane. It's you're not like you're watching TV and they're telling you something new that you haven't heard or read about already. You know, like whenever you see like Fauci get up there or any kind of scientist or doctor or something, and they're telling you some shit, it's you're just like, yeah, I read this already, you know?
Yeah.
And you don't know who's telling the truth, and you don't know what's a lie, and you don't know who's just like embellishing just for the sake of getting attention. And it's just like that to me is the scarier part. But I think, you know, when the virus starts to go away and life starts to get a little bit more normal, and we don't have like an incendiary device as a president, that's like you see these things. None of these things exist without someone fanning the flames to it.
Yeah.
You know? And I think a lot of normal people just don't want to deal with that. Like whether you were conservative or liberal or middle of the road or whatever, you're just like, I just want to live my life.
Yeah.
You know?
I just want to work my 9 to 5, and when I'm done, I want to get on Netflix and watch the new season of Stranger Things.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like, I don't care about. Yeah, like honestly, I mean, I find like a lot of that's the problem too, is like I'm consuming a lot of the politics from like a comedy standpoint.
Yeah.
Like I don't read President Trump's tweets and be like, whoa. I'm
Yeah.
reading it as like, this is gonna be fucking something like that's funny. This is gonna be a joke.
Yeah.
Which is the problem, right? Because we shouldn't be consuming those things for entertainment.
Well,
but we are.
Here's the other thing too, is that it's prior to the last few years, I would consider myself a non-political person. You know,
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the most embarrassing things I feel like I can say, because when I am saying and I'm complaining about being fed up with the shit that I see, and I think about like I didn't want to have to worry about this. That's so lucky of me to be able to say I'm not a political person, because there are people in other countries, they're getting steamrolled by like their dictators' like personal army. They don't have a choice. They don't have a choice to be political or not. You know, like they can't just like feel like, well, if I ignore politics, I'm still probably going to be just fine, which you are in this country. You know, but like in other countries, you don't have that choice. Like you're either going to fight for your freedom or you're going to die.
Yeah,
you know?
Dude, that's that's exactly what it is, right?
Yeah.
So that's the hard thing is like you don't want to underplay what's happening in the States or what's happening in Canada, because like we've had a few fucked up things as well, but it's like, is this truly the beginning of something worse?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because I think
Hope not.
I think even, like say for instance, like Trump's bullshit about like I was a landslide victory and all blah 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 whatever. Even if you were to consider and say you gave him, like the 3 or 4 states that he said that he won, this still, if he had that many more votes, there's still half the country that disagrees. So you can't, you just can't argue that. You can't say that it's all gone. If for some reason, like literally every person was just like, you know what? Hitler was on to something. Like if that was everybody, if it was like your kid's first grade teacher and your doctor and the guy at the grocery store and the fucking, the person who's your mail delivery, like if everyone was walking around with Nazi armbands and you couldn't get away with it, then maybe it's time to pick up and move. But like, it's literally like a portion, a loud portion of the country that makes it hard for us to kind of consume media without being, berated by like stupid, crazy, ignorant, hypocritical shit. Yeah. But like, it's not, we're not there yet. We're not even close to there yet. No.
Don't
go anywhere.
And honestly, it's not gonna get, well, it might get worse.
It could get worse, but I don't think it's ever going to get worse to the point where we actually just like completely crumble. That's my personal opinion. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm way off base, but I think that like everything in at least in terms of like what the people in this country feel, I feel like we will always end up kind of like finding that kind of like balance where we can still all disagree with each other, but at the end of the day, we all still just want to like live our lives.
That's what sucks, man, is now that you're saying that, it's like this really seems like more of a product of media and social media directly.
Yeah.
And it's something that moving to Canada, you're not going to avoid. Because I mean, I text you daily like bullshit about Alberta, about Canada,
right,
and things like that. It's like you're going to still experience that because what you're really experiencing is exactly what you said. You're just experiencing like a media's perspective on the thing. And if you looked at it truthfully, you'd realize it's kind of just like, honestly, what if Trump got voted in again? For 4 more years of some bullshit, like some straight bullshit with I mean, it would be a big deal, I guess, for some people or whatever.
I mean, it would definitely be a big deal, like, because he started going off the rails at the end,
But I heard he started going off the rails because it was over.
Yeah, right. But like, say for instance, he got the election overturned, and they were just like, you know what, you're right. Where do you go from where he was? Like, and then you got another 4 years. Like, where do you go from there? And the really what I think. And again, this is me. I'm not super educated in this type of thing, but like, I feel like this is all a product of the way we consumed media. Reality TV shows.
He was a soundbite president, man. He gave the media exactly what they wanted. These little short, dude, whatever, how many characters Twitter is.
Forget about the media, dude. This entire country asked for it. When you make reality TV the center of your core entertainment, where things need to be like, okay, reality TV is, quote, reality TV, right? Like, everybody knows it's not real. It's not a documentary. It's people.
No, I mean, to sell those shows, they have to script it usually.
Exactly.
Which is insane. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the fact that us as a people gave that so much weight, the fact that a person like him got elected to be president, I don't know how you could expect it to be anything else. We cultivated this culture, and that's what we ended up with. And no one likes it now, but you know what? Like, that's what we made. We made it. We made him the president because of what we did. Like, if every show was fucking like Leave It to Beaver and The Twilight Zone from like 1961, this guy would not be president. But every show was like Keeping Up with the Kardashians Summer Edition in Hawaii, where everyone needs to be rich and perfect and powerful and not interesting, but like all these things where it's just like how can we spice this up? Well, this episode, this person threw a drink in this one's face, but the next episode, this one hit the other one over the head with a skateboard. But in the next episode, this one ran the other one over with their Jeep. But in the next episode, this one flew their private jet into their cabana. But in the next, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It just keeps getting crazier and crazier. But that's what that is very true. It's like you watch reality TV and you start thinking, God, my life's a little boring.
Right.
But it's like, guess what? Most of the time, like Kanye West isn't sitting on a private jet flying around,
right.
being cool. You know what I mean?
Give me the reality TV show where all these celebrities are doing what they actually do in reality. Show me Cameron Diaz in a baseball hat picking up apples and being like, this one's a little soft. You know what I mean?
And be like, oh, there's the paparazzi. I got to hide my face again.
Yeah, right.
Because I have a zit on my forehead right now, and I don't want it to show up on the cover of
Exactly.
TMZ.
Exactly. Yeah. Show me Kanye West sitting at his house, like having trouble like getting the dishwasher to close the right way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because you know he struggles with that, man. You know he struggles with that.
He's like, man, every time I put this fucking thing in, the thing gets stuck, and then I try to close it, but it doesn't close all the way, and then I get water. You know, like that's reality. That's what real reality.
Some water splashed on me, and I thought, wow, that's gonna look like my next Yeezys. Yeah, that's reality. That's reality.
Yeah,
and sitting in lawyers' offices and being like, hey, how come I didn't get my money for this?
Yeah,
you know, they all those exact problem. I mean, Kanye West doesn't shut up about how this person screwed him out of this $1 million and stuff like that. And it's like, we're all.
I honestly think all of this is just growing pains, because if you look at the last 100 years, right? Look at 1921 to 2021, and think about the amount of significant technological advancement, and then you look from 1921 to 1821 to 1721 to 1621, there was advancement, but not at the rate that we've had in the last 100 years. You know? Like, look at the difference from the iPhone 1 to the iPhone 12.
Yeah.
AR, this, scan that, do this suggests this, blah, 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 blah. The first one was just a touch screen. That's all it was.
Yo, my life when I was 10 years old, the way the world was when I was 10 compared to now is incredibly different.
Yeah. And I think we're all just learning how to live with the speed of information, the speed of technology. Like, right now I could write a conspiracy article and I can share it to Facebook, and by Friday I'll have a mob of people waiting to, do whatever I say.
Yeah.
And
wait, are you talking about starting a cult?
I'm talking, yeah, let's do it.
I'm down.
I have seen, and I look at this because especially like over the past couple of years, I've developed more of an interest in kind of like the science of cults and how they happen. And it's super interesting to see how people can manipulate others' thoughts, even intelligent people, especially intelligent people, how they can be manipulated to just follow and do whatever, It's like that.
Was that Bernie Madoff?
Well, what was that? What's that old like prison experiment?
Stanford.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Like that, just to that kind of the way that like the human personality, the human character can just be so easily swayed into thinking something, and just so we can feel like we're part of something,
Yeah. But it's also like specifically like that Bernie Madoff, the investor that was like taking all that money from really smart investors and things like that, that had no idea. I think they don't exactly know how it was running, right? But I think it was like he was taking investors' money and they had the option to like invest with him and not get the profits back.
Right.
Or you could get the profits back. And he just had to make sure that the money coming in could pay the profits back.
Right.
To the people that wanted their profits at the end of every month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like using other people's money to pay. Right.
Yeah. And then it was kind of like, oh, this guy wants his money back, so we're gonna get a bunch more investors to give us our money.
Yeah, exactly.
kind of amazing. So you're like making spreadsheets to be like, oh, this month we only have like $100 million to give out. So
Right.
these returns were only 100 million
But like,
worth.
how many people were doing shit like that didn't get caught?
Oh, so many. How
You
many people
know,
are doing that right now? Yeah.
so many still.
Yeah.
So many. But I think
That's what.
that like the bottom line when it comes to all this stuff is just like, if you believe a certain thing and you are afforded the opportunity to live in a place like we live, and I know it's different for everybody. Everyone has a different experience, but for the most part, I think you still have the option to try and make your life better.
Yeah.
You got to stay. You know, like you can't run away from the problem. You need to stay there. You need to stick it out. You need to, to me too, like I also, like my whole thing is I'd rather go down with the ship than I think than leave it. You know, like when the hurricanes hit New York a couple of years back, I was just like, I don't want to go anywhere. Like I didn't, like, especially when we lived in Brooklyn for the first hurricane. My wife got nervous, so we left. But if I was by myself, fuck it, man, I would have been sitting by the window just watching.
Yeah.
Like
Watching.
it's,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that makes me think of the end of Fight Club. When he's standing in the window just watching all the buildings collapse. I fucking love that part, man.
Right. To me, I'm like, if you're in it or you're not in it. You know, like if you're gonna make like shit can break your heart, but like so can everything. Like your best friend can break your heart. That doesn't mean you're not best friends anymore. Your parents can disappoint you. Your brothers and sisters can, you know what I mean? Like shit happens.
It's exactly. Yeah. And what we're seeing a lot of is people being like, I don't like the way that the States is functioning. I need to leave. And it's like, I could see if you're like, yo, I was totally mistreated, racially profiled.
Sure.
Like blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Then it's like, you want to leave? Like, yeah. Like, you know what? If that's happening to you, like maybe, you should, like maybe you get out of there.
You
get out of there. Get out of wherever you are. But, because you don't like the perception or whatever is. Just stay.
And like if like if you walk out of your house and just by walking out of your house, a cop runs up to you and friggin' shoots you in the knee, or like you walk out and you get pistol whipped, and it's like literally every day you get pulled over, you get this, you get that. Like, I might want to leave that place too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're not experiencing it, and there are people who do experience it, and they're like, fuck it, I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. This is my home just as much as it's your home.
Yeah.
You know?
And I feel like we did a really good job taking a real controversial subject right there and just surface grinding it.
Yeah, that's it, man. I mean,
come on.
Yeah, could have done better, dude. That is a loaded question.
Yeah, it is.
That is a loaded question because, like, if it was an easy question to answer, it wouldn't exist anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been fixed already.
Yeah, I mean, don't you feel like a lot of problems, like you grow up and you're like, oh, that'll be fixed when I'm an adult. And then you grow up and it's like, yo, how are we not figuring out a better way to navigate this? Like,
I know.
What the fuck?
I know.
Yeah.
And that goes for like the dumbest things too. It's like, you still can't figure out how to do this. It goes for like a lot of design programs and shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, you just like,
you know how this should be.
Yeah. Just like Photoshop still can't do this. Like, why I have to do it this way? Oh, unless, I mean, like for me, there probably is a better way already though. I just don't know it.
That's true. And we'll explore that in other episodes.
I mean, I honestly, I waste too much time consuming the current events of today, and we all do, I think, because you can't get away from it.
It's not even the current events. That's the problem too, right? Is like media is like true journalism has become narrative.
Right.
And so it's just like you're just exploring like somebody's interpretation and somebody's bullshit opinion of that.
Yeah.
It's not news anymore.
Yeah. And that, I think you're right. And it's like becoming an adult and just dealing with this shit on a daily basis and seeing that things don't change the way you want them to or the way that you would expect them to or whatever. It's just, that's part of life too, man.
Yeah.
Like, shit sucks. You gotta find your spot that makes you happy.
And
You
how
know,
do you make life better?
how do you
Right?
how do you make your life worth living?
Yeah,
Do you
because
have
you're not
kids? Do you
like,
travel? Do you not? Do you not go anywhere and sit in your in your room like playing guitar all day? Like,
that's
what
what I
makes your
do.
life worth the living? Yeah, you
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. You definitely sit in a room and play guitar all day, but don't know how to play guitar, right?
Yeah. Dude, yeah, yeah, that's my life.
Man. Well, I mean, hopefully this is kind of the end of like a lot of the political talk, because it's not fun, and I think we all have fatigue from it,
Yeah, I think this
and
applies to design as well, though. Like we
it
could,
definitely does. It definitely does. I mean, all this shit always, you can apply any part of society to any industry, I think, because it's still just
yeah,
people doing shit.
yeah. I mean, if you're a creative designer, then you can apply anything to any
I mean, you
industry
should.
because you got the creativity to do it.
Yo, tell me that you can't look at any type of current event and apply it to a design situation, whether it's a
Mhm.
client or a conference or an employer or an employee or a message board or something that has people interacting as a type of community.
Yeah,
It's going to be the same.
yeah.
Tell me, okay, so like say you're working at an agency,
Okay,
and one
which
of the,
one?
like, I don't know, whatever, like Doofus and fucking Brothers Co.
Yeah,
Right? And like the owner is a complete asshole, and everyone stands at the water fountain when he's sick for the day, and they're like, "Yo, tomorrow we're all gonna confront him. We're gonna tell him how we feel." And then like some people chicken out, and like this happens.
yeah,
Like you can apply all this stuff, and then there's some people who go in there like 100% ready to fight, and then that person's like on their own, and then they're just like yelling, and everyone's kind of look at them weird or whatever. Like
yeah.
all this stuff can be applied to all this shit. So it sucks,
Oh
but
man, you just really I just had an epiphany in
I
what you were
did.
saying there.
I did.
You gave me an epiphany. You
You
gave
have an
me an
epiphany.
epiphany. Yeah, because it's like I kind of really like I see the stuff that's happening at Capitol or whatever, and it's just like I kind of don't care, but I'll make jokes and things like that or
Sure.
whatever. And I've worked in a place where it was like very toxic because of the boss,
Right.
and I kind of feel bad because maybe I would joke about it all the time, like, and I think the people that I was talking to, they would talk about it too, but it might not have been as funny for them as it was for me because I truly didn't care that the guy was toxic.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. Right. Right.
I was like, I don't care. I'm going home at the end of the day. They pay me on time. I kind of like it's not
Yeah.
ruining my life.
Yeah. You're not letting him impact you that way.
Yeah, and so I
Yeah.
kind of like I don't know. Maybe I should have came to that situation realizing that probably other people weren't experiencing it as so funny as I was.
Right. Well, there's also some people who maybe caught it a lot harder than you.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like especially
Yeah.
like you get like that real like slime ball boss who's like sexual harassing people,
Yeah.
and maybe he's a dick to you, but like he's not cornering you and making you uncomfortable and like maybe scared,
Yeah. Yeah.
You just get pissed off at him and you walk out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It all comes down to the human experience, right? And it's just like what's your version of it?
Dude, that's a hard thing because like I love going for walks at night, right? I love going for like once it gets dark out, that's
Easy
when I
for
like to just
you.
walk.
You're a dude that's not afraid of confrontation.
I know, and I was like to Erin, I was like, why don't you like going for walks at night? And
Yeah.
she's like, I don't feel safe. And I was like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? Like you're with me? She's
Yeah.
like, I still don't feel safe. And I was like, oh, like shit. Like
Yeah.
I've never gone out at night and been like worried.
No, me neither. My wife says
Yeah.
it to me all the time too. She's like, you don't go out for a jog and worry that you're gonna get raped, kidnapped, and murdered.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know?
And kind of, I'm like, if somebody did confront me like that,
You're ready.
like then, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
know. Dude.
And
And
so
let me tell
it
you,
sucks.
I feel like I've taken a punch from my wife. Like we used to do like kickboxing classes and shit together. Like I know
Yeah.
that she can hit hard, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know, like there are physical differences between men and women, especially predators and women unsuspecting, that it's not the same.
Yeah, like the weakest male could.
Well, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. But yeah. But like, yeah. I've never been worried about going out.
No.
And so I feel bad that that's a reality for most people, right?
Yeah.
For
over 50%.
I mean,
you could even say like people in the workplace, forget about like violence and harassment and stuff like that. What about people who, what about nepotism?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my uncle's the creative director at this agency. He said I can get a job there. Cool. Like, what about the person who's paying for college out of their own pocket because their family doesn't have anything and they have to work at some shithole place and they never even get the opportunity? Maybe they're a billion times better than this other person.
Yeah.
They never
Which
get the
is
chance.
usually the case.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so everyone takes it differently. Everyone deals with different shit,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's about just trying to see it from their perspective or...
Oh, imagine that. Imagine trying to understand how someone else lives.
Wait, what's that called?
I don't know. It's called America.
Yeah, it's definitely not called America. America has zero empathy.
Oh, man. Well, bottom line is don't go anywhere. You'll be fine. It'll be okay. Just have
because
a little
now
bit.
That you thought about going somewhere, you're getting kicked out of the country.
You're getting tossed. Oh, man. Yeah. Well, I think we're doing pretty good on episodes. We're keeping to our word so far.
Yeah.
Right? That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. We got a bunch of other shit lined up too. We got some good guests coming up. Excited for that. Brent and I were trying to decide whether or not Brent should be on the guest episode or not. I say he should be because I think he offers a good outsider's perspective.
Yeah. I just I would never want to influence like those conversations, which I don't think I will.
No, I don't think so either.
I won't.
We're just going to use you as a punching bag anyway.
Yeah. And then later on, if that guest is very rude to me, I'll develop a anger towards them and treat them very, very, very poorly.
I think that's safe to say. Well, we'll see. We'll judge. We'll see who's an asshole to you, and then who you actually end up liking. My bet is that you're not gonna like anybody.
Whoa, you actually think?
Yeah, I feel like you're gonna develop an issue with somebody at some point for the next guest, and then the following guest you'll have something else. You'll have a problem with them, and then the guest after that you'll have a problem with them. This is the pattern I'm gonna see.
Oh no! Do you think that's true?
Maybe. I don't know. I could have just made that up.
I think by playing devil's advocate, I always just like judge.
Yeah,
but I'm never actually truly judging. Does that make sense?
No.
I'll pick on things about people like, but I see those things in myself as well. I'm gonna just talk you into hating whoever it is, and then I'm gonna point out the fact that you don't like them, and then just be like, see, I was right. No, but you're gonna do it while they're there. Yeah. Brent doesn't like you. Me and Brent were messaging before this, and he just doesn't seem to like you a lot.
He's just not a fan. I don't know why.
Brent, what don't you like about this guest? I'll come with my notes. I'll pull up my glasses, put them on.
Nice.
I guess should we get people to write in guest recommendations?
Yeah, tell us if there's you know what? Because we're not gonna do it all the time, but we'll do it. And if you got people that you're interested in us talking to, now listen, we're not interested in the typical hero worship bullshit. Like we want to do real conversations, talking about real things. Talk, stuff that's like we're gonna we've been talking about this for a while, but we're gonna have Benny Gold on, and we want to talk to him about like the rise and fall of his store and like why he decided to call it quits and all that shit. Like it's the harder stuff. Like is it finances? Is it family? Is it burnout? Is it what is it? So like, we want to talk about that type of shit. And if you got people who you're interested in hearing from, Brent and I are not scared to ask those questions and talk about tough shit. So if you got them, when you're sending questions, send a suggestion. We'll reach out, see if they're down.
I'd like that.
Cool. Glad you like that. That's really great. That made me feel good. Thanks. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.